What up, man? It's DJ EFN, one half of the Drink Champs, Crazy Hood Productions, Miami's mixtape king. Who the fuck is crazy? You looking at him, it's rhetorical. And I'm chilling right now, and you chilling right now. Local astronauts. Let's get it. Well, first of all, I'm born in LA. So a Cuban household in LA might be slightly different than a Cuban household in Miami where I ended up, which is like basically little Cuba. But first and foremost, it's just loud. That's all Cuban households. They just loud as a motherfucker. Then you got grandma in that bitch. You know, she's holding the fort down. You know, she commands the house in a Cuban household. Then you smelling the food grandma's making, so you smelling plantains. You know, she making rice and beans. You know, rice and chicken or whatever. And then you hearing Caribbean music. You know, salsa, mostly, anything else. And that's basically a Cuban household. That's the environment. It'd be the best cut of the pork. You know, I don't eat pork anymore, but and you know, every Christmas you make it's called lechon. That's the leg, right, the thigh of the pork, and that's you know, they're getting the best cut of that whoever, you know, commands the house.
How do you make that?
They one of the main ways, they call it a caja china, Chinese box. They do the slow roast, or they do the one where they put the leaves, the banana leaves, and they dig a hole in the ground and they put it in those two ways. I mean, yeah, definitely there's been many times that just on what I expected, if I didn't already know the artist, what I expected, I was gonna get based on the public persona, and what I got was totally different. That's happened a bunch of times. And then yeah, there's stories that they'll tell, behind the scenes stories of a situation that we might know from the outside looking in, that totally changed my perspective. Now, if you ask me to tell you some of the most memorable, it's tough. No, it's tough, because we really get so fucked up on the show, we really drink, that I damn near forget almost everything that we talk about. Like, I rely on the fans on Twitter or on Instagram hitting me and be like, yo, that was crazy when you did this, or when this happened, or when this. So sometimes you're gonna catch me going, what did I say? How did that happen? What did they say? So I don't really remember many, but I just like memorable in terms of like, not story, but just the personality and in terms of expectation was 50. You know, I didn't expect 50 to come in so like open to doing Drink Champs. Like some people have come over the years. We've only been doing it for like a year and a half, but throughout the time, and it's either they're intimidated or they don't understand what Drink Champs is, because they're just basing it on like other shows in where they think, you know, the journalists are trying to get them, you know, and try to get a headline out of it. So some people come up with their guard up. So if you understand Drink Champs and you get it, you'll know it's really just let loose, have fun with it. You know, it's not that serious. And then in the process, let's drop some gems on the listeners. And 50, he came in from the get and he got it. And I didn't expect him to be that way. He was just so open with it and have fun. And I mean, he got up and talked to the people in the back behind us, and it was really, you know, it was one of my favorite episodes. You know? Well, let's just start with hip hop. I mean, I would have loved to Eazy-E, you know, Big Pun. Who else would I have loved to that passed? Obviously, Pac and Big. You know, that's the obvious ones. Because imagine, like, I think if Drink Champs would have been around in their time, we would have done our best to try to bring them together. You know, and stop the bullshit. Big L. Did I mention him already? Big L, I love Big L, man. And then in terms of outside of hip hop, shit, could you imagine like a drink? Well, this would be Smoke Champs. Imagine like a Bob Marley. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm a huge Robin Williams fan. Can you imagine like someone like that? Like I want us to start going outside of the realm of hip hop in terms of people, because anybody that comes to our show, it's automatic hip hop, because that's what we are. You're like, they're entering the realm of hip hop just coming on the show. So, but I want to be able to bring in people outside of the world, outside of the culture, bring them in, you know, into the fold, and just expand the audience like that. And that way their audience can learn about hip hop culture, and we could learn about whatever, you know, them as well. You know, our audience could learn about them. So I would love like a Robin Williams would be ill, you know. I think what was dope about him that I don't know up until that point that other comedians were doing or actors, you know, is that he was random with his shit. Like you didn't know what to expect from Robin Williams. He would, you know, bust out. You couldn't control him. He was uncontrollable. You know, you go off in rants. I don't know if you heard the controversy where they say he stole jokes. I don't know if you heard about that. Like there's if you look it up, there's comedians that kind of diss him. But I heard another comedian saying that Robin Williams might have done that accidentally because he spitballs so much. He's just going. He's nonstop. That if he was in the Comedy Store, he might have heard something, and it just was there. And then when he's spitballing, he don't even know where that shit came from. It's just in the mix with whatever his material, and then it's just something he thinks. Oh, I think I made this up, you know. So he might have just accidentally, but he's just on it. Like he's just going. And I don't think in comedy at that point there was people, you know, someone like that just you didn't know what to expect. You couldn't control him. You see him on talk shows, he would just go off, you know, and talk for like, you know, nonstop for like, you know, a couple minutes. And you see the host be like, damn, I can't stop this dude. And he was hilarious, you know, he was funny. Well, there's a difference between completely stealing something, like a verse, or mimicking somebody. So I don't know, which one do you mean?
Let's talk about both. Let's
I mean, I don't think there's no excuse for jacking someone's rhymes, you know, at all. You know what I'm saying? Mimicking, that's different because that's kind of a form of like paying homage. So, you know, and sometimes people do it accidentally. Like they love an artist so much, and you'll notice, like for example, Eminem on his first album, I think it was called the Infinite album, he sounds like Jay and Nas because that's who he looked up to at the time. If you go back, Google Infinite album, you're gonna hear it, and he's sounding like Jay-Z and Nas. You know what I'm saying? And but you know, no one's going back and saying, you know, he's whack for that. It's just, you know, in his growth in the beginning, he's mimicking who he looks up to. But when you know, if you keep at your whatever you're doing, your career, whatever your trait, you're gonna evolve into your own personality, your own person. You're gonna find yourself, and that's what ended up happening with him. Anger's gonna be Hennessy.
You think so?
For me, it is. I call it fight me juice or look at me juice. I think everybody's looking at me and want to start some shit. Empathy. Man, I don't know what drink would be empathy. A fucking Moscow Mule? I don't know. I don't know. What was the other one?
Your turn up.
Turn up is damn near every drink. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to get it in. If there's an alcohol you don't like, but you want to turn up, you drink whatever the fuck is available, and you're going to turn up. So I think any alcohol will do the job. That's crazy. I didn't drink much around my family, or they didn't drink much around me. But I guess it would have to be, my pops used to drink a lot of rum, like rum and coke and shit. So that'd probably be it. Yeah, like I became I don't know if it's because of him, but I definitely, one of the main drinks that I drink is like I'm a rum drinker. Well, he says I cut him off anything he says is wrong. My other boy, Charlie, everything he says is absolutely wrong. So we always clown him. We get loud, and being Cuban or Latinos or whatever, or even just Caribbean people in general, we get louder, you know? So it's just like my girl, she's not from the Caribbean. So when she hangs out with me and my friends, more than anything, she's like, you guys sound like you're about to fight each other. But to us, we're inside, we happy as fuck, we enjoy it. But it looks like we having an argument, like we about to go to blows and shit. And we just be saying crazy, like the whole room, or like we're at a restaurant, they're all looking at us, you know, crazy because we just get really loud. The octaves start going really up with us, and we get animated, and we just laugh, and we just like to have a good time. We don't give a fuck who's listening. Yeah, passion. That's exactly it too. We have a lot. We use our hands a lot of bravado, a lot of this, a lot of that, and it looks. If you're not from that culture, it looks intimidating. You'd be like, yo, what should I throw my set up right now? Well, I mean, I haven't been an active DJing like that in a minute. I DJed for a very long time, like all the clubs and radio and all that stuff. But now, because of the success of Drink Champs, yeah, people definitely want to book me off the strength of, you know, EFN and the Drink Champs name and stuff like that. I got no problem. Just pay me the right amount of money, and and the vibe that I want to do. Because I'm not, my whole thing with DJing and the time, that I'm grateful for the time that I was a DJ in the clubs and stuff, the audience looked to the DJ for what was hot. That time isn't there anymore. The DJ better play the records that the audience want to hear, or that DJ's doesn't have a job anymore. We were the tastemakers. So what I tell people is like, we not jukeboxes. Don't make no fucking requests over here. So when I get, I'm gonna get back into it again also because there's bookings coming at me now, and I'm gonna do it strictly where it's like the way I want to do it, and I'm gonna do mostly classics, and I'm more of the 90s era, mid to late 90s. That's my era, and that's what I feel comfortable playing, and that's what I'm gonna probably play, man. Yeah. I mean, just speaking on behalf of Latinos, Pun just gave us so much pride. Latinos were in hip hop always looking for the guy who was Latino or rapped or repped. I mean, because there's a lot of guys that were of Latin descent that didn't rep it. They just stay quiet about their heritage. Dude might have been Dominican mom, so they didn't rep it. But when you got someone out there and they repping it with pride, and holding that flag, it just made us really proud. And Cypress did that for us, and for us, we know the history of hip hop. Latinos have been there from the beginning, and sometimes it gets lost, in the history. So Pun was just when he came out, he was the best. Lyrically, he was the best, and that was that's our guy right there, And he was so respected, and he was making records that crossed over. So he was making, radio hits, but then he was respected in the streets. Totally respected. So he just was the total package. Just unfortunate, he went too soon.
Right.
But and then he brought his crew along with him too, which was dope, And then that legacy still lives on with people like Remy Ma, out still doing stuff. So he really, there was a lot more that he probably would have done, and just he just helped us with, it was just a prideful thing for Latinos, and I think for all of hip hop in the end, the whole culture won. Yeah, I still haven't completely wrapped my mind around that. I get it when you're kind of a known personality and you create a playlist and people follow you, but I'm gonna ask you this: are there people that were unknown that became known through playlists?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because I feel that was, because I don't know anybody yet that's pop, but I think it is dope if you're some kind of known personality or tastemaker, that you can kind of share your taste of music with people now, and it's not just up to, you don't have to be a DJ necessarily, and you just create a playlist, and I think that's real dope. People we want to create one actually for Drink Champs, create playlists based off of the shows and stuff like that. But I think it's dope. I like that. I just don't know if anybody's popped off that hasn't been known with playlists. I know people that tried. We had a friend, I'm gonna make a playlist and follow my playlist. Well, ain't nobody following you. I label everything "Who's Crazy," so the title of the playlist is "Who's Crazy," with a question mark. And I'll probably have the shit that I listen to on the regular, which would be a mix of definitely N.w.A. is gonna be in there. Compton's Most Wanted, Ice Cube, and then you're gonna have Big L, the Rakims, the Nas, Scarface, Outkast, Trick Daddy, and I'm gonna have, the thing is, I'm a person that's my let's say when I think of playlists, let's just say for the day, whatever I'm listening to, it's mood music. So I'm gonna have different playlists. There's days that I want to just listen to reggae, mid '90s reggae. That's my shit. Because in Miami, actually, I had to be ill on the reggae set to get into the clubs. So I had the ill reggae set. So I love mid '90s, early '90s reggae. So reggae sets, and then you'll have certain hip hop that caters to a mood. A lot of Kanye. I'm a big Kanye fan. I like everything Kanye does. Kendrick. So yeah, but definitely that mid '90s, that '93 to 96 maybe. Black Moons and the, and who else? And Def Squad and Hit Squad really. Before Def Squad, so you have the Redmans and the Daz Effects and all of that. So yeah, man, I definitely would take it back. I think I like to believe what we did as a platform is kind of we're setting the blueprint for, first of all, you don't got to be journalists or you don't have to be professionals at whatever you're doing. But if you have like a passion or an opinion on something, like, because my boy that put me on the podcasting, he does like a gaming podcast. He's in the podcast Hall of Fame. He's been doing it forever. He was always telling me like, yo, do podcasts. And I thought it was kind of crazy because I'm like, man, he's promoting this. Like, usually people don't want other people to do the shit that they be doing. So what I noticed in the podcast world, they kind of like, it's like the more the merrier, which, it's counterintuitive for most of us. It's like, I don't want everybody else doing the same hustle I'm doing. But since that's the way it came to me, I feel it's only right that we continue that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, yo, the more the merrier. Like, I just think that every artist out there should be creating, at the very least, a podcast, or try it, because why not? They got fan base. Why not put your voice, and make some extra income through this type of, avenue. And I just think it's going to continue to grow because, man, you got me double fisted now. I'm good. It's going to grow, and I just think it's needed right now in this space because for a long time, at least before we got in the urban space, people weren't looking at podcasts as something that they wanted to do. They felt it was like some nerd shit, and they wasn't, in general, people wasn't really applying themselves to the digital space, the internet and all that stuff. Like, I've always been trying, like, we had our company, Crazy Productions, we had our website in 1994. Now, mind you, like, I didn't know what the fuck, let's have a website. I knew I was ahead of my time, but, I could even take more advantage being ahead of the game like that. So I just think that we, meaning like within hip hop culture, and I think it's happening, like I'm not saying it's not, just need to apply ourselves more with technology, with, the changes in technology, and podcast is one of those things, and I think we help open the door and open the eyes of a lot of people that wouldn't have considered podcasts as a viable source of income and an outlet for content. And now you got like almost every artist we interview either went off and created a podcast after us or want to create a podcast. And I'm happy for that. And I feel like, we contributed to the culture. My whole thing is contribute, don't take. Add on, don't subtract. I mean, speaking just for ourselves and myself, like the dynamic between me and N.o.r.e. and the way we try to attack it is, N.o.r.e. is coming, like it's like, what sometimes N.o.r.e. says, like inside the NBA, like players that become, the journalists. In that sense, that's what we're doing. Like, he's an artist, he was an artist, he is an artist. He's, he knows the backside of all these stories and the inside of the industry. And I'm coming from a different perspective than him. And even a lot of our guests, because I DJ'd, I worked the street teams, was a street team manager, worked with all the labels. I had a hip hop clothing store in Miami. So, I worked a lot of like the grunt work, the soldier work, the behind the scenes. I managed artists. So I know all that side of it. And so what I like to say is I rep for the unseen soldiers in the game, that all these artists have built their careers on the backs without the DJs, without the street team guys, without the managers. Artists ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they talented, but you need something to push that talent to the forefront. And that's what I rep, and that's the angle that I come in, and that's what I'm proud of, that I could be the voice for. Because there's a DJ in North Chakalaka that ain't nobody ever gonna shout out on a major platform, because it's not necessarily, DJ Envy on the Breakfast Club, or he's not the known DJ in a big market. I'm repping for that dude. You know what I'm saying? Because I was that dude in Miami, making mixtapes, spinning on college radio, then on pirate radio, and just on the ground with my dogs out there promoting in the streets, just doing it for our hood and for our city. That's what we did. There's guys doing this in every single city in the United States and don't get no recognition for it. So that I'm their voice, I think the street team always, and specifically to hip hop, it added that street edginess, because it was like the graffiti. Graffiti is an element in hip hop, and street teams is like almost like damn near graffiti. Going out there, you sniping, you giving out shit. If them flyers hit the floor too much, you getting fined for all that. That's whatever. That's what do we call it? It's like you're littering and shit. So I just feel like that's missing. It's almost like it's safe now to promote on the internet for free. You're not putting in man hours. You're not sweating out there in the hot sun. You're not really like, you got it easy now. And I think that there should be a two-pronged approach. I think you should still add, the street aspect of it, and have the social media, and the digital aspect of it, of your promotion. And if you have both, I think you're ahead of everybody else. Because everybody else now, and the younger cats don't even know about the street team shit, so they're not even thinking about that. That's why I love, I manage a group called Mayday that is on Strange Music with Tech and them, and they still, they still do street team stuff. And I applaud them for that. And they have a great social media strategy as well. And I think that that's the thing that, helps them maintain, their foothold on what they do with their audience, and their audience appreciates that because they know, man, they come into that market with, they're gonna see snipes, they're gonna get flyers, and it's tangible shit, man. Like, now, mind you, the difference is that back in the days, because you couldn't go online and just see everything. When you got a flyer, you kept that flyer. Oh shit, I got so and so's flyer. It was special. Now it might not be as special, but I still think you need to find a street game and add that to your marketing repertoire, because I think you'll just be ahead of everybody else right now. The best. You never saw our Drink Chance posters we had around? Well,
what you mean?
We had Drink Chance posters. Shout out to my dog, and he's Cuban. He's in LA. My dog was Poster God. Is that his? That's his joint. Poster God is his Instagram. Man, he fucking laced it for us. And see, that's me with my old street team mentality. I'm like, ain't nobody gonna do this for a podcast. Like, I'm doing this for a podcast, And we get the stickers made, and I'm always trying to find ways to just be do that and add that to what we're doing. And I think that first of all, I think that's hip hop, and then second of all, on a marketing angle, it helps you stand out.